Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is the first plan with me of 2020, so January. And I have my old bullet journal as well as my old bullet journal out here because I want to go through, show you guys what I've got for December so far, and then we'll take a look in here and I'll show you what I'm going to set up. Now, two things. First, I will be doing a full flip through of my 2019 bullet journal later, so have no fear, you will see everything kind of all in order. Once I'll probably film it sometime after the first of the year so that I have everything kind of completed in here so you can see what it really all looks like. The second thing is I won't be dealing with my PROJO in this video because we're heading into a new quarter one. So I'll have my quarter one plan with me and January set up in a separate video because otherwise this would just get way too long. So what we are going to take a look at is December. Let's see, so let's attempt to locate December. Here we go. So December was my lovely burgundy, copper, bronze, yellow sort of month, and I must say I am a huge fan. I also, as soon as I did this spread, well actually I obviously did all of the spreads, but I was kind of comparing it while I was working in November, and November is like this really warm tone, and I was using a black gel pen, and I was like, wow, this is just, cool tones, and this one is so much warmer that I decided to go ahead and actually change to a different everyday writer for December. So this is actually the pen I've been using, and you'll see once I show you guys my dailies, you'll see what it looks like. So this is a UNIBALL SIGNO, it's a 0.28, and it is brown ink. Now I actually have two different brown pens, so let's move on. So here's intro page. I've got my monthly and intentions, and I don't know how much you can actually see this. Let's see. So I actually have two different colors of brown. Now this one right here is actually the brown gel pen that's in my Coletto, so it's this one right here. Whoops, there we go, you can't even see it, but it is this brown pen. And then this kind of like richer, so this is like almost a red brown, and then this deeper brown is this pen. So weirdly enough, I have two different colors of brown gel pens. So back in here, weeklies are going pretty well. It's currently Tuesday the 10th, and I'm planning to post this plan with me video on the 15th, so I am filming a little bit earlier. That's because I'm really trying to not have too much going on. My parents are actually coming in to town for Christmas, so I want to make sure I got, all of my YouTube stuff done, as much work stuff done as I can, so that I can really just relax and enjoy them actually coming for a visit. So working on the monthly, I've got my intentions. As you can see, I have done a ton of sewing. I've done, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've sewn 7 things, although one of them is actually a mending thing. I took in the sleeves of my saffron dress, so I've actually sewn 6 things, so tons of sewing. I was really feeling the lack of working and taking the time to sew because last month was just YouTube all day, every day, it felt like. So definitely went a little crazy on the sewing. I have been working on some knitting. I'm actually really hoping that I will finish my Nolita sweater for the end of the month. We'll see how it goes. Font in Korean has not happened yet, but as I mentioned, it's only the 11th, so I still have almost 3 weeks to try and get back on track with that. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, I've got my tracker. So this is going to be the month that I do my massive 2019 review of my tracker. And I actually, I kind of do mini reviews as I'm going through the month because I end up setting my next month up so early. And so I know, for example, I am really enjoying just having this one skincare. Did I do skincare or did I not do skincare? That has simplified my life so much. So in terms of massive changes to my tracker, I don't think I'm going to have any, but I think what this is going to help me with is things that I want to focus on that are still on my tracker, not necessarily additions to my tracker, but things on my tracker that I would like to maybe try to use differently. So we'll see how that goes. I will try and remember to show you guys this a little bit more in depth when I do my full bullet journal flip through, since obviously I don't have this done quite yet. So legend, same as always. I've gotten a little bit of reading done. I've been reading this book in French a little bit every single night, so that is pretty awesome. I finished an audiobook, honestly did it while I was sewing last weekend, I guess, and got some other ones. But as I've mentioned in previous months, I've already hit my goal, so it's not really a big deal if I don't hit 5 books this month. Then we are up to dailies. So because this is only the second week of December, this is kind of all I've got right now. You can see last week I had a lot of stuff. So a lot of this had to do with things that I was migrating from the end of November and things that I needed to work on. And then basically this part of the week I had meetings and like all kinds of grading stuff to do last week. So I really didn't get much done. And then, you know, it kind of re-upped my number of tasks for the weekend kind of thing. I did do Sunday in 2 columns because I'm weird and I like to have this on one like big long line, and I knew I wasn't going to have as much on Sunday as I sometimes do because I had some open tasks over here. Now you'll notice I still have some open tasks because I'm still on the same spread, so even though it's a new week, I'm just like leaving those open and I'm trying to work on them as I have time. So this is my daily for yesterday. I am working on things. As you can see, I'm working on things. I've actually started filming, so that is a good sign. But yeah, that's just kind of how things are going. So I do have a couple of spreads left. I basically have 2.5 spreads left, I think. So I think that I will end up using the 2 full spreads. I am not 100% sure that I'll need this last page, so this might be something I leave blank or do something fun with, like who knows. And then my very last page in here is my YouTube workflow. So I definitely will have some empty boxes just because I only basically have, this is my second of 3 videos that I'm trying to film today, and those are the last things I need to film before the end of the year. So if I end up filming more before the end of the year, great, but I don't actually need to, so that's kind of a good thing. So that is how December is going, and can you see how much nicer this looks having this like brown versus this very harsh? Like it worked really well for this month, but I just like having that brown kind of a little bit lighter. Anyway, sorry, getting a little distracted. So that is December in here. Let me go ahead. I will show you, actually no, we'll save December in my Projo for another day. So I have one other thing that I want to show you in terms of 2019 before we start working on this migration. And this was something that I wanted to kind of talk about, but it's not really something that needs its own video. So I was like, I'm just going to throw it in my January plan with me and like, we'll kind of deal with it there. So you guys might know if you watch my stories that I do longhand journal, and I try really hard to journal every single day. And I've been really good for the last like probably 6 or 8 months. And so one of the things that I decided as I was journaling one morning is I'm ready for a new journal. So let me show you my current one. So this is my current journal. I've actually been using it. It started out as a morning pages journal, and while I do still journal in the morning, I don't technically do morning pages. So I have been using, it's a DINGBATS, one I got quite a while ago, and it's like this really bright orange color, which I don't dislike orange, but you guys know, like in terms of the outside covers of my notebooks, I tend to like things that are a little bit more muted. And so I was like, okay, this, like honestly, I'm really only gonna ever use this as a longhand journal because I'm not gonna use it as a bullet journal. So it works really well though, because I do like to write in fountain pen in my journals, and this paper takes it really well. It doesn't take long to dry at all. So I've been really happy with that. However, so I don't actually have my dates on here. However, I've been in here since Friday, May 18th of 2018. And like, I basically wrote for a while, and then this, let's see, so stopped in October of 2018, restarted at the end of January 2019, wrote through February, and then jumped over to July. So I have some like really big gaps in time from there, but then basically I've been writing every single day except for my trip to Korea since July, and I've written up to here. So I've written, like the majority was from this year. And so I'm down to where I've got about a quarter of my journal left. Let's see, I think it's about that, yeah. So I've got about a quarter of my journal left, and I've got about 3 weeks left in the year. So my thinking is this. I've been in here for like a year and a half, 2 years. Well, I can't do time, but anyway, I've been in here for a long time, and I'm ready for a change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out 2019 in this journal, and no matter how many pages are left, this journal is done as of December 31st. And so I'm going to start a new journal as of January 1st. So, oops, So I'm going to be moving into this. So I kept the little fly paper thingy here. So this is a Staology. It is the B6 sized with grid. And I got this because I was really looking for B6 notebooks, and this is one of the ones that comes up pretty frequently as being a B6 notebook size. However, I decided not to use it for my bullet journal because, as you guys know, I was a little extra and I wanted to make my own. But I obviously still wanted to use this journal for something, and it's a really nice feeling journal. I think it's got Tomoe paper. I'm actually not 100% sure what the paper is, but it's a Japanese brand, so it's got really good paper in here. But it's also 365 pages, and I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I've been pretty good for the last 6 to 8 months writing a little bit every day. I don't necessarily write an entire page every single day, but I usually write at least like a third to a half of a page, and that's when I'm considering writing in, an A5 notebook. But this is an A5 dot grid, so 5mm dots, and if I'm going to move down to a B6 dot grid or a B6 grid with 5mm grid, then I actually might be able to make it through this entire journal in a year, but it'll probably take me the year, which is fine. So I decided that this is going to be my new journal for 2020, and I need to label it first off. So I'm gonna label on this page that it's, my 2020 journal, et cetera, start date, end date, all of that kind of fun stuff. I'm probably gonna leave this page blank. And then if you guys saw the video I posted on Thursday, hopefully I got it up for Thursday, this is the quote that I did to kind of show you guys my quote layout process, if you will. And I thought this was great because, tomorrow's the first blank page of a 365 page book, write a good one. Perfect quote for a journal, perfect quote for an actual 365 page notebook. I couldn't have picked a better quote. So I've got my little quote in here. And then I think what I'm gonna do, because I feel weird starting it on here, I think I'm gonna start writing on this side. So this is, January 1st, I'm gonna start writing in there. So, that takes out 2 pages basically, but I've still got a ton left. And yeah, I think that's what we're gonna go with. So this is going to be my new journal. I don't know if I will set up this intro page. I probably won't set this up on here. I'll probably wait until I get to the end of the year, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys, because I will be migrating to a new longhand journal, I wanted to show you the notebook that I was planning on using for that. So as you might have noticed that I'm kind of switching to a lot of B6 size things for next year because I can. So now let's take a look at my ideas for January. So I do need my PROJO for this, and as you can see, I've got 17,000 pieces of paper in here. Actually, I've got my, reset and recharge notebook in here, just marking my page. So let's zoom in. So my January setup, I actually literally did not even do a color scheme. I pulled out a bunch of gray, black, copper. I even have a white gel pen, and we're just gonna kind of go with this because it's my birthday month and I like monochromatic spreads, so I'm just gonna kind of go with that. Unfortunately, I always end up doing this where I kind of pick a black and gray theme for my front of bullet journal spreads, and then January comes and I'm like, oh, I want to do monochromatic again. And so my front of Bujo and my January spreads always look kind of similar, but it is what it'll be fine. Anyway, so I have my quote. I decided rather than doing a January quote, I would do a New Year quote. And this is another one that I found on Goodreads. So there was a shorter version of the quote and a slightly longer version of the quote. And I decided to go with the longer version because I liked having kind of the full thing, I guess. So it's by T.S. Eliot. For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice, and to make an end is to make a beginning. I just thought that was a really nice quote to have for a new year and all of that kind of fun stuff. So that's what we're gonna go with. As I mentioned, color scheme, didn't actually write it down. We'll see which combination of colors I end up choosing. And then I've got just a couple of notes. So my log is gonna be 31 days. I've got intentions. I am actually changing my intentions. So in December, let's take a peek. What did I do for December? My December intentions were font, Korean, knit, and sew. And I have kind of re-widened the scope again because I wanted to keep it to 4. I think that's a good number, but I just wanted a little bit of a change. So I've still got font. I have to do that. I have added exercise because one of my goals for 2020 is to make an actual exercise routine that I can stick to. I haven't had a lot of success so far, but we're gonna try it. And then I've done language and textiles. So because I want to do my Italian language immersion this summer, that means I need to start working on Italian again, but I still still want to work on Korean. And then textiles is literally just sewing and knitting, but I just have put them together because my knitting projects tend to take a lot longer than sewing projects, so there's not really any point in having a separate intention for the two of them when it's really just like the same, like two halves of the same coin kind of thing. And I didn't have a good, like, it's not really crafting because I do other things for crafting like notebook making and that kind of stuff. It's really just like textile work. So we called it textiles. Then my tracker, I'm going to keep everything the same as I did in December. I really like that setup. I think I'll probably keep it for a couple months and then revisit once I start getting bored or once I realize I need to change something. But for now, we're good. And then I also have read 5 books. So my 2020 reading goals, actually posted a picture of what my goals are on my Instagram, so you guys can check that out if you want. But I decided to do 50 books, not because I can't read more, because obviously I can, but because I really want to try and be a little bit more intentional. And I also have so many other projects that if it happens that I don't have as much time to read, I don't want to feel bad about not hitting this like super personal, like for fun reading goal. So I just was like, we're gonna go ahead and do 50 books. I also want to read 5 books in French, 2 books in Spanish, and 1 book in Italian. So those are kind of my language breakdowns of my main reading goal. So that means I'm gonna just do 5 books every month, which obviously if I do 5 books every month, that works out to, I think that works out to 60. So I actually could lower it to 4 books a month. I honestly would have to do the math. I haven't done that. I just am keeping the same. Actually, you know what? I will do the math in a second and I will fix that. Give me a minute. Okay, so I had to change my battery and I went ahead and I did the math. It's 4.1 books a week, so we're gonna actually just call it 4 because why not? I also have a little note down here about my new journal. So I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to deal with the journal and I ended up doing a separate video for this particular quote. So that's already been dealt with. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it up here. And yeah, that is all for January. Obviously, normally this would be a longer setup because I would have my PROJO stuff, but we're gonna do that in a separate video. So let's take a look inside my bullet journal. So I wanted to go ahead because when I did my migration plan with me, I didn't actually fill in the spreads. I wanted to go ahead and take a moment to show you guys my spreads because I filled in most of them. I mean, obviously they're subject to change, but I've at least filled in kind of the bare bones of everything. So I wanted to show you guys how that actually turned out. So first off, I need to re-glue this section of my notebook. I just haven't had a chance to do it. Gotta get to that before it starts falling apart even more. But this you guys already saw. I did go ahead and fill in my index and oh, I'm so happy. I honestly am not even sure if I'll use this entire spread, but I'm glad I have the space. So just filled in my index, the bare bones kind of deals. I'll fill in January once I actually finish. I've got my future log. So basically all I've put in so far are paydays, birthdays, and school holidays, and then I'll fill in more as I get more information. But for right now, those are kind of the big things that I need to know are coming up. I've also got my quarterly goals. So I had those 2 little scratch pieces of paper and I just took all of the information and filled it in over here. And again, I will end up having more stuff, I'm sure, that will get added on. Probably less so for Q1, but for future quarters, I probably will. And the nice thing is, even though I'm in a smaller notebook, I've also been writing smaller just in general. And so I do actually have space that if I need more room, I can just create a second column. So all of them, I have the ability to create a second column if I do need more space. So we'll see how that goes. Then I've got my top 5 goals. So I filled in kind of the rough stuff I need to do for all of them except for font. And that is because I'm waiting to see if I actually am going to finish my first font before the end of the year or not, because that's going to change what I actually have as my main goal for next year. But in terms of my other stuff, I just have, I need to budget and save. I think I'm going to probably do some kind of a little budget tracker over here. I need to contact the school. I need to book. I need to decide on dates. That should not have been drawn in. I don't know why I did that. There we go. I have for my naturalization, I need to reread the requirements, see if there's people I need to contact for different things or whatever, and then start collecting documents. And I have room to add more. I just don't quite yet know what I need to do. My Prof Bujo, I actually know exactly what I need to do, so I filled in all of that. So I need to create a spread for the year at a glance and for holidays. Also, that should not have been, I just went like willy-nilly doing my little squares, didn't I? I need to do a monthly template that I can then duplicate 12 times. I need to do a weekly template times 36 weeks and a note section, and then I need to print, bind, and fill everything in. So that is basically what I need to do before next school year, so pretty good to go. Again, font we skipped, and then investing, I need to contact Vanguard. I want to look into maybe investing through them, work on saving. I need to maybe budget a monthly transfer for investing. I need to maybe up a retirement amount and work on my 2021 yearly forecast. So I did my 2020, but I'd like to eventually get to a point where I'm like 1 to 2 years ahead. So I want to work on that a little bit earlier than I did for this past one. So those are kind of what I have so far for my top 5 goals. Obviously, I will need to fill in more information for most of them, but at least gives me kind of a rough idea of where I'm starting from. Then we've got income. I haven't filled in a single thing on this spread yet. I will work on that later. And again, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this side over here. We'll figure it out later, as always. I've got my YouTube. So this one I didn't fill in either because this is going to be what I actually posted, but I have all of my planning up on my wall. So this basically I don't need to fill in until I write in what I actually post that week. So that should save me from having to erase a bunch of stuff. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Then I've got my YouTube workflow. I did actually draw in that last line because it was kind of bugging me. So we'll got that all ready to go. And tracker, I haven't even filled anything in yet because I don't even know where I'm gonna end the year. So you know what, this is just gonna kind of wait. Then we get to January. So this is going to be for my quote and intro page. So I actually don't have anything written on here because as you guys know, I kind of wing it when I do all of my lettering. So we will work on that in a bit. During the time lapse probably. Then I've got for my monthly log and my intentions. Now, because I'm in a new size of notebook, I did need to kind of make my tick marks. I mean, I always do that, but I really needed to do it for here. And it's a good thing I did because I realized that for months that have 31 days, I have to start all the way up at the top and I can only have 2 lines for the upcoming month, which granted, I don't normally have a lot that's in the upcoming month and I do split it into 2 columns already, so like not the end of the world, but it's definitely cutting it a little bit close. And then intentions, that one I always just kind of set up as I go, so no big deal there. The other one I did need to also plan out was my tracker, and I've had to readjust things in order to kind of fit everything with enough space. So I have my tracker up here. I do have enough room for a tiny little title, and then I have gone down from 8 squares for my labeling to 6. So I'll just have to write a little bit smaller, no big deal. And then I realized over here, I was like, that's a little too narrow for a reading tracker. So I'm gonna put my legend over here because I have a lot less stuff in my legend now. I can just kind of spread it out a little bit more and like no harm done. Which means that this entire section I'm going to use for reading, and I will definitely end up splitting it into 2 columns, especially for months where I end up reading more than 5 books, for example. So this, we're gonna have to kind of play around and see how that's gonna work. January, obviously, you know, trying new things, all that kind of fun stuff. And then I have my review over here because I do like having that monthly review. So I did just write in pencil a quick little label just so I kind of remembered what I wanted to do and where. So that is the end of my monthly setup. The next one will be a weekly, which I will, well actually dailies, which I won't set up on camera because it's literally just writing like the dates and the week and all of that kind of fun stuff. So January is going to be pretty straightforward. Honestly, the setup I've been using has been working really well, and I'm very glad that I decided to take out that skincare tracker because that would have taken up to like here. And I would have had very little room to do reading or reviews or any of that kind of stuff. So that worked out very, very well. So that is all I've got in terms of the explanation. Let's go ahead and do the time lapse, and I'll come back at the end and show you guys how things went. Okay, so that is my January setup. Now, I ended up using a couple of different markers. I used, let's see. So for my quote, I used the Tombow Fudeноsuke and this Le Pen Flex, so black and gray. And, you know, overall, it's pretty well centered. I just kind of picked some different styles to do for print versus lettering and all of that kind of stuff. So I really like this quote for the new year, though. I'm really excited to see this throughout the month of January, and then just January 2020 over here. Then I've got my monthly. I did squeeze in just Jan, so I would have the month labeled on here, even though I obviously know which month it is. I just kind of like to have that. So I ended up using my 02 micron to do most of my lines for my different spreads. And then I also used it to write in the days of the week, and I used the black gel pen in my Coletto for the dates. Then intentions, I just used the Le Pen. I should have given exercise a little bit less space because now my textile section does not have much room for me to write in what I actually want to do for the month, but I'll figure that out once I actually sit down kind of at the end of December to figure out what my actual concrete goals are for these 4 intentions for January. Then I've got this tracking page. So I used the gray STAEDTLER fine liner. So I did that for my week divisions and for my legend over here and to write in over here. I used my Le Pen for the different lettering and the micron, as well as the black Coletto for the rest of it. So a very monochromatic spread overall. I kind of like it actually. So I kind of just did as much of my legend as I had to fill in and then just did the boxes around it after the fact. So I do have this tiny little section here. I kind of want to put something there, but I'm not sure what yet. So I'm just going to leave it for the moment. But yeah, hopefully this will be a setup that works so that I actually have enough space for everything, because obviously I have had to shift things in order to fit them in a smaller notebook. So that is January. Honestly, it's the new year. I did a bunch of review stuff already, so I don't have that much to actually say. So if you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hey guys, so if you've made it all the way to the end of this video and are actually watching my end screen and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would. There's a little button right there for you to do it. And if you're interested in watching some more of my videos, I have links to 2 of my older videos off to the left there, so you can check those out if you would like to, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!